welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast, and we are so excited today to be giving you a bonus interview. We are talking with Christine Weatherup, who is the writer, director, and actor in See You Next Christmas. This is a new feature film that is going to be released today as of the airing of this interview. It'll be on November 9th, and we're so excited to get a chance to talk with Christine, and thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, love your background.
Yes. Hey, I'm in the spirit year round, and it's great to have an excuse to be.
That's right. Well, we, of course, the Hallmarkies podcast celebrate Christmas.
Kindred spirits over here.
That's right.
I joke that I wrote a movie set at Christmas just so I could have Christmas year round. And it was nice. I could unapologetically listen to Christmas music all year round just as inspiration, you know.
Wow. I think you will find many kindred spirits here in our audience. So why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, since this is the first time we've had you on. Tell us a little bit about how you kind of got started in the industry.
Yeah, I always was interested in film ever since I can remember. And as a kid, I grew up in LA, although none of my family was in the entertainment industry. But I remember watching movies and being like, I want to do that. I want to be a part of that. And so I started acting because that was also the most visible thing I could see, especially seeing women in film. It was always actors, especially at that time. You didn't see female directors as much. And so I always envisioned that. And then, so I started acting as a teenager, and then very slowly I was like, I'd like to be on both sides of the camera. That seems pretty fun. And so I went to film school, and then ever since then, I've done acting, both, acting on camera, and then I've also been directing and writing. And so you could see me, some of the recent fun things I've been a part of. Watchmen. I had a fun a role on episode 4 of Watchmen. Westworld. I've been on Grey's Anatomy, things like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So were you always a big kind of Christmas person and always into Christmas movies? You watch Hallmark movies, those kinds of things?
Yeah. It's funny I've always been a big fan of Christmas. Definitely my favorite holiday. I'm a little biased. I myself have an annual holiday party, maybe not surprising if you've seen the movie. And just, I feel like the Christmas spirit, there's something just so special about that time of year and reflection. That's always been something that I've connected to. And I think in terms of movies, I love holiday movies, and I love actually a broad range of it. I wouldn't say that, I love, a Hallmark movie, but I'm one of those people who could say that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I love seeing different genres that then have Christmas as an element to it, Any excuse to watch a Christmas movie, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when you watch as many Christmas rom-coms as I do, it's nice every once in a while to watch a Gremlins, to watch a, something that's different and
so unexpected. That still is still gives you that cozy feeling, but also then you're like, oh, and I'm scared or whatever.
Yeah, I loved Anna and the Apocalypse from I think 2018. I don't know if you guys got to see that.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's so good. It's zombie Christmas musical.
Ooh,
movie. Yeah,
musical too. I'm a fan of musicals. I'm not a singer myself, but I enjoy watching other people sing.
Oh yeah, you'll love it. Yeah, I know. It's like check.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I mean, I get so many, as a film critic, I get so many emails about projects, people trying to get me to watch, trying to review. I feel terrible half the time because I'm like, I just wish I had more time and I could support more films. I do as many as I can, especially during Christmas. And so I got the email about See You Next Christmas, and I was kind of like, oh,
not another one. No.
Yeah.
I feel so honored we made it. Yeah.
I know. But I decided to give it a shot, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was romantic. I thought it was sweet. I really liked the casting. It's obviously, a small budget film, but I thought you did a lot with what you had. And so I said, I want to I'd love to do an interview because I genuinely enjoyed the film. So
Thank
so
you.
congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. It's a passion project and so
Mhm.
homespun and from the heart. I mean, a fun fact. Well, so a little bit about the movie.
Yeah.
It's set at an annual Christmas party over the course of 6 years, and you get to see this group of friends grow over the course of 6 years. And of course, there's a couple who keeps meeting every year at the party, and you wonder, will they or won't they? And I mentioned how I have my own annual Christmas party. And so that was the inspiration and the kernel. And the first half of the movie is set in the couple who throws the party, their apartment. And fun fact, speaking to the homespun nature, that's my apartment. Yeah.
No.
And making a movie in a 1-bedroom apartment is an adventure. I'll say that. We would put our bed on its side so that we could sneak crew members into our bedroom. It was crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How did you get this all off the ground? I mean, you did you write the script first and
Yeah.
then then you had, coordinating the filming, the acting. How did you do it all?
Well, I think, it's a long journey, independent filmmaking. And I had another project that I had previously been really pushing forward on, but the budgetary, raising money, that it just takes so much time, and I'd been waiting and gotten so close to making that movie, but then, the money would disappear or we'd be waiting to hear from a producer, blah blah blah. And so with this one, part of the impetus is I wanted to make a movie that I knew I could pull off, keep the budget small, use the resources I have as an actor, knowing plenty of actors and being able to bring actors in, is one of the strengths that I knew I could bring to the table, as well as my apartment, the location. And we had tons of Christmas decorations, so I had a plethora of things to use. And so knowing that, we started building how small we could make it, how we could shoot it. We shot it in 16 days. And so you kind of slowly put together those pieces. And so it took about a year of planning and sort of workshopping the script before we shot. And then we shot in January and February of 2020, weeks before the country shut down. So
Oh
I mean,
my
it's
gosh.
so lucky in that, I don't know how we would have shot this movie on the budget with COVID and all of that, and people into, getting together in a room would have been a challenge.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask you about that. That's very lucky then. Wow.
Oh my gosh, pure luck. Like literally, I mean, and then we did post all, from our separate, like our
Yeah.
editor. I hadn't been in the same room with him since, he was at the wrap party, and then we did everything on Zoom, which is very unusual. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, it's a testament to his great work, Andy Young. He was so wonderful to work with, and to do it over Zoom and make it work was just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I think more and more people are having that experience of, it's like they gotta you gotta make it work. You gotta figure it out one way or another.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So fortunate we had it in the can, because I think it would have been really challenging to
Yeah.
shoot more of the movie, or if we had shot half of it and then locked down.
Mhm.
I just feel very lucky with our timing.
Yeah, that's great. So you had this idea because of your Christmas party,
Yeah.
and there's this thing in the movie called Clarkmas,
Yes. So
which is
my
your
party
family party.
was called Chrissy Miss.
Oh,
so,
really?
so I was like, I can't really do Chrissy Miss. Let's pick another. And so I was like, Clark, that could be somebody's
That's
last
cute.
name. And so Clark Miss came out of that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that there's certain nostalgia, speaking of COVID, to the movie, because we haven't been able to gather like we want, for 2 years practically. We're just kind of starting just this last kind of summer, I think, starting to kind of do that again with the vaccination. And so seeing all of these parties play out year after year, I think there's
Right.
something almost nostalgic about it.
It is funny how it has that. And I think there's something, so last night we had our first cast and crew screening. So people who I hadn't seen since COVID, we
Mhm.
finally were able to get together and watch the film. And it was so special. Watching a film with people is special, and you're reminded of that. But just the movie is so much about connection and about friendship and about community and getting people together. And so, I mean, we had no idea what we were in store for after we wrapped, that we would have a year where with such isolation. And so to get to celebrate that, and I think the timing of when it's being released, it is hopeful. I think
Yeah.
we're starting to find that return, and that these kinds of parties are going to return. But it is kind of weird when you think about it. When we were editing, it was very surreal to think how I'm on Zoom with the editor, nobody's in person, where our sound designer, we're zooming in. It's just a strange thing for a movie about togetherness.
Yeah. And one thing I appreciated about this movie is a lot of times people, when they're trying to make something that's not a Hallmark type rom-com type movie, it's like they go to the other extreme and make it super raunchy, and not that this is like a G-rated movie, I'm not saying that, but it didn't go to that other extreme, which I appreciated. Like it was still sweet in a lot of ways, and it's still like
I think it gets
I could
that
show this to my
wholesome.
mom. I feel like it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's
in
not
that
too
way.
racy. Like it's just a click racier than a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
But not that sort of raunchy, crazy kind of. Yeah.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
So some of these parties that they have, the shenanigans are quite funny. It starts out with a fire at one of the parties, and then the beer tub made me laugh.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Because it seems like on the surface, great idea. To keep it.
Unless you're in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. If you unless you don't have any other bathrooms, then it creates a problem. That was funny. Have you had any shenanigans at your parties that kind of inspired you, or how did you come up with these ideas?
That matched that. What's funny is, I had outlined the script and started the script, and there was a fire, and I put it not at one of our parties, but in the script. I'd written this fire because I was like, I need something high stakes to happen. And the fire actually originally was supposed to be like a Christmas light got too hot and set a curtain on fire, which that would have been a harder thing to pull off. So I'm glad I didn't go in that direction ultimately. But what's funny is after I had written that, then flash forward to a Christmas party I attended later that year, and a friend of mine had a smoke issue for her Christmas party, and everyone had to leave. And it's funny. I have to talk to her before this podcast because she hasn't seen the movie yet, and she's gonna go, "You wrote that because of me," but I swear it was in the script originally. But I changed it to I was like, "Oh, hers is a much more realistic," because it was something where under her oven there were there was a drawer under her oven that got too hot, and that's where the smoke, and they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. So I'm glad I could turn it into some shenanigans for on-screen use.
Well, a lot of times those kind of small apartments have really old stoves and ranges and ovens and things. And
hers is definitely one of those beautiful, kind of 1940s, 1950s built in. Yeah.
And then they don't use them a lot of times. People in those kind of apartments don't cook that much. And so you wouldn't know until you're heating up the hot apps.
Exactly.
Why were you making hot apps? I thought it was a good idea. Yeah, that's funny. And I liked Tom and Annie's relationship. Annie's your character.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I feel like you don't always see sort of functional married couples, but like they had their conflict and they weren't perfect or anything, but they were really good together. And I thought they were a fun
Thanks.
couple, especially when you get the whole pregnancy thing.
Uh-huh.
He's trying his hard and you just like, leave me alone. I thought that was funny.
Well, and I think, I set out to make, this ensemble romantic comedy where it is about a group of friends. But I think, the first question when I wrote the script was, do soulmates exist? Kind of as sort of the central question, because you see these other characters, Natalie and Logan, who keep meeting at the party. They kind of hate each other, but they're also weirdly attracted to each other, and they both need to grow and be ready for a relationship. But I think you can only appreciate their growth when you see it sort of compared to this other sort of seemingly perfect couple who found their soulmate very young, but also see how their relationship is challenged over the course of it. And so to kind of have those sort of, a friend of mine was like, oh, it's a four-hander really, because you have those two couples throughout. I think it makes the film work to have that comparison.
Yeah. And a lot of times people are like, how could you get married so young, kind of a thing. Like my sister got married pretty young. And it's like, all that matters is that you are willing to grow with your spouse and grow together. If you
100%.
Yeah. And then it can be a great experience. But if you aren't willing to do that, then obviously that's going to be a problem. But I think you see that with Annie and Tom's relationship, that they are kind of willing to grow, and things aren't perfect, but they have a very fulfilling, I think, relationship. And I think that was fun to see.
And that's also a testament to Vin Vesia, who plays Tom. He brings such a fun warmth to that character. And it's funny because my husband and I throw these parties. So everyone who knows me is going to be like, this is autobiographical. That's supposed to be Matt. And my husband also, I should say, produced the film with Beatrice.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but I think it was really interesting casting that role, because I couldn't cast my husband, not because, I mean, he's not an actor, but also, you have to be open to what actors are going to bring in their own unique essence. So finding somebody who brought something, that was unique, that also worked for the character, and also as a person being able to divorce myself. I shouldn't use the word divorce when I'm talking about my husband. But divorce myself from that decision of, trying to find somebody to play my husband, but find this Tom character and somebody who fit the Tom and Annie mold rather than, Christine and Matt.
Right. Yeah. So Christine, Natalie. Sorry, Natalie.
Logan and Natalie. Yeah,
Logan and Natalie. It's Elizabeth Guest and AJ Meyer. And I thought they had really good chemistry and were really good together. And so how was that casting them, the two of them?
It was super fun. It's funny because as an actor, I know a ton of actors, and I had a ton of friends who came in who were incredible, but maybe didn't fit roles that were in the film. And the only actor I knew beforehand close was Elizabeth Guest. I had worked with her, and I had done a table read of the script early on and had brought her in because I was like, she's kind of Natalie, but you never know until you kind of want to, she was so generous with her time workshopping the material and just such a wonderful fit for it. But that being said, I wanted to audition and bring people in and do chemistry reads. And so we did a pretty long audition process at the end of 2019, and that culminated in getting 4 Logans and 4 Natalies, and then just kind of swapping them in and out of the room to see how they interacted and what kind of energy they brought to it. And yeah, I think their relationship is just so beautiful in the film, because both those characters have a lot of growth to do. And what I mean is they have their challenges early on. There are things that make them, difficult and unlikable, kind of like the best romantic comedies, though, to me. You want to see, like When Harry Met Sally is one of my favorite, which I would also call a Christmas film because you do have some Christmas scenes in it.
Yeah.
But, they just aren't ready for where they can end up, and they have to do a lot of personal growth. And so finding, the challenge was finding actors who could make these sometimes unlikable characters likable, who would connect with one another and have that chemistry, and who you just would, you know, fall in love with as you watch the movie,
Yeah,
which I hope
I
people
think
do.
I think
I
you
know I
did.
do.
I
Oh,
enjoyed both of them very much, and I I really liked the ending. I thought it was very good when she's like, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but like, sit down. I have props.
yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm always curious. I ask, and probably my whole cast and crew is annoyed when I ask this, but I say, what is your favorite year of the movie? Because every person, when they watch it, they connect to a different year. And sometimes when they watch it a second time, I'll ask and it'll change. And so
Mhm.
I'm always fascinated. Did you have a favorite year?
Mm, they were all pretty
Not to put
good.
you on the
I
spot.
mean, the ending was probably my favorite. I don't know if
Oh,
that
that's
counts as a
good.
year, but I
I will
love the
count
ending.
that. I will
But
really count that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the ending was my favorite. But I also liked the pregnancy year. I thought that was really funny.
Mm,
Um, it felt pretty authentic to me.
yeah.
And you can definitely also just relate to, as somebody, I'm single and I'm 40, and I can definitely relate to the experience of kind of like not losing your friends, but like them, you just kind of, you don't have similar schedules anymore
Over
because they're
time.
so
Yeah.
busy with the baby and with their children, and it's just so tough. I was thinking about that the other day, that like that's something I did not appreciate in my 20s, is that like in your 20s it's so much easier to just like get together on a Friday night or like hang out or have a
Yeah.
party or something, like, and to do anything like that now is so much work.
There are
It's
just so many
so hard.
schedules, and yeah, you don't realize it until it kind of the domino effect, if it's starting to happen, like one
Yeah.
friend in the group has a child and it
Yeah.
becomes a little hard, but you're like, oh well, we can work it out, and
Yeah.
then one more and more, and schedules and
Even
lives.
even getting together with my family is challenging. Like trying
Yeah.
to, coordinate everybody and find a night when we're all free, and like it's hard.
Yeah, which is part of like the annual Christmas party for me in my own
Mhm.
life. I think there's a line in the film where my character says it's the only time we get to see all our friends together in one place. And it's true. I have friends who I see once a year. They always come to the party, but
Yeah.
then, best of intentions. At that party, we say, we should get together. Maybe, early January. I'm getting back from my family and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's December. And we're there again.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. I liked the girl who's making the
Ah,
cookies. She was very
yes.
funny in just like a
Yes,
few little
Nina.
scenes. She was good.
Nalini Sharma. That runner is really funny,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, are you worthy of my cookies? Because she makes, like, if people haven't seen the movie, she makes like really good cookies, and so she brings them to the party, and she's like, I'm not throwing the pearls before swine.
Yeah, she doesn't want to share them, which I understand as somebody like I
Yeah.
love baking and holiday baking, but you spend so much effort and then it just gets hoovered up by the first person who walks in and you're like, wait, you didn't even taste that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite year?
A favorite year?
Yeah.
I think it fluctuates. I do love that last scene because it is, and intentionally so, the most like rom-com-y scene. That's kind of the more
Mhm.
classical.
Yeah.
But every time I watch it, I think I connect to a different thing or appreciate a different thing because they do represent different times in your life. And like that first year is the most sort of rough around the edges. And even as we approached it from a shooting perspective, it's subtle, but you'll notice in the film, the first year, it's all handheld. The light is, because they have kind of like red lights in the room. And, like it's, kind of supposed to be that post-college party where you're like making that transition. You're an adult, you're throwing a party, but it's also like red Solo cups and Jello shots. And
Right.
then as the movie progresses, by the time they move into a house and leave the apartment, then the camera is not handheld anymore. And so you kind of feel the film maturing as the
Mhm.
characters mature. And so depending if I'm in an immature mood or a mature one, I might connect with different years.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got a Hallmarky, Hardy, Postable, or Sleuther in your life? Are you looking for the perfect gift for your loved one? Look no further than the Hallmarkies podcast merch store. We have designs from artists like Jessica Miller and Carrie at Hallmark Comics. we at the store, you can declare your team, like hashtag Team Lucas or hashtag Team Nathan. And you can also have your hashtag shirts with hashtag postables, hashtag Hardee's, hashtag goodies. We've got the Love Me Like series where you can get designs such as Love Me Like Nick Loves Aurora. And there's also great stories beyond Hallmark like Anne and Gilbert from Anne of Green Gables. And it's not just shirts, but notebooks, mugs, pillows, and cell phone cases. Your support of the merch store helps keep the podcast going, and we are so appreciative. There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or follow the link in the description. That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies. Was that hard, kind of wearing some different hats? Like if you're in a shot, you're also directing the shot, you're coordinating everything, then watching
it takes a lot of
dailies
planning ahead of time. I think I lived with the movie for that year. We were prepping it and figuring out how to make it. And so I think that time gave me a lot of insight and helped me sort of chart the course. But I also, and this wasn't by design, but I think maybe subconsciously it was, by playing the role of Annie, who is the host of the party. She's sort of the mother hen. And in a way, being a director, you're also a mother hen, and you're kind of the one guiding. And so it was very interesting on set. I felt like the crew and the actors kind of would defer to me in that same way. And so I think there was a synchronicity between the character and the role I was playing on set. And so it never felt unmanageable, which is also definitely a testament to my production team. My producers were incredible with such a small budget, so few days, and yet I never felt overwhelmed and doing three things.
When they go shopping together, so they're in that car for the 1 year, was that challenging to shoot that?
Yes, it was. That was actually the last scene we shot of the movie.
Okay.
And generally we shot chronologically, which was such a gift, both in terms of production design. So, we would keep the location as that year, and then we'd get to change it for the next year. But for scheduling reasons, I can't write in because it was in a car. It was outside. We put it at the end. And you wouldn't know this, but I'm in the back seat under a black blanket, so I could be in there with the actors while they were doing the scene. So I'm hiding in the back seat while they're driving, and it was practically done, driving around LA, but with another car, kind of a lead car that the actors would follow. But then you have to mount a camera, and at the time, we were shooting on a holiday. I think it was Martin Luther King Day or President's Day, and the rental house, or where we had rented it, was closed. And at first the mount was missing a piece. And so we had to figure out a way to remount that camera. So yes, it was a little hard to shoot that, but it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, actually. Yeah.
I also, I don't want to give away too much, but I also kind of loved that he saved her number. Cause she's so mad at him about that. And she doesn't know kind of what's going on in his life and what happened and everything. And then when he pulls out her number, it's cute.
such a redemption too, because his character in so many ways is the most challenging, in that his growth, and this is true of all of them, the growth often happens off screen because years pass, you're only at the Christmas party, but his growth really is all off screen. And that year 4 is a tough year for him, and he says some things that are pretty awful and behaves pretty awfully. But then the redemption, when we see him again, you're like, oh, I know why you behave that way. And look, you understand, and you've thought through it, and you're good.
Yeah. And he's got it there right in his wallet. So cute.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. But yeah, I think that people will really enjoy it if they give it a shot. It's romantic. It's funny. I think that you'll be able to relate to the characters, that you have friends because sometimes in these party movies too, they can be way over the top,
right?
And, where it's nobody has parties like this, and nobody has friends this.
Yeah, I hope that's my hope. I think the ensemble cast is so wonderful, and I'm so grateful for all the actors who lent their talents to it. And I think they really do feel like genuine people, and I think because of also the sort of the nature of the film and the growth, different people connect to different parts of the film depending on where they are in their life. And even somebody who had seen a screening months ago, watched it recently at this cast and crew screening and said, yeah, this time Annie and Tom really spoke to me because I'm having those conversations with my girlfriend, and I that tickled me so much, to think that they could relate in that way and hadn't previously.
Yeah. The green dress that you wear throughout, was that one that you owned, or how'd you find that?
It's a ModCloth dress, actually.
Oh,
And
okay.
right before filming, I ordered a few different holiday dresses from ModCloth. And luckily we shot right after Christmas of 2019. We shot in that January. So they had like great sales on all their dresses. So I got a few different ones and then kind of decided it was between that. And there's this beautiful like red plaid fit and flare dress that I liked, but I feel like that green one it had the maturing. You could wear it for both ages,
Yeah. And you don't often see, I feel like, the green dress. It's more times the red dress. So I felt like, and especially with your hair color, it really, I thought, worked well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
That was fun. Well, very cool. Congratulations. We like to end our interviews with some fun, silly questions. So yes, this is the Christmas edition since it's a Christmas movie. All right.
I love Christmas, so I'm ready.
All right, good. First question. What is your favorite holiday drink?
Favorite holiday drink. Gosh. I'm trying to think.
Like eggnog,
I
hot
love
cocoa, cider.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get into like fancy cocktails because there's a place in LA that did really fancy cocktails that blew my mind. But I think eggnog is the classic. I do the Martha Stewart recipe, which is a lot of booze. It's like 3 or 4 different types and cups, and you're just like, uh-oh, I hope. But this is for the party, so there are a lot of people drinking it, I should say. But and I only have it once a year, so that's like it's so Christmas to me because I just do it at my party. So yeah, Martha Stewart's eggnog.
You talking about those crazy cocktails, it makes me think of, there's this one Hallmark movie called The Mistletoe Inn, which is a pretty good movie, and they have these crazy cocktails, and the one that made me laugh the most was there was one called the Tiny Tim. I'm like, why on earth would you name your cocktail after?
I hope it's in a shot glass. I hope it's a very tiny cocktail.
Why would you name your cocktail after the child protagonist of like classic? That was so funny to me.
I know there was this bar in LA that did a Hans Gruber for Die Hard, the villain in Die Hard, and that was also quite funny.
At least that's an adult.
That's true. That's true. Tim. Tiny Tim is not drinking cocktails, I hope.
I hope not. That was so funny. Anyway, what is your favorite holiday cookie or treat?
Maybe. Well, I make chocolate truffles, which in one of the years of the movie, that's sort of one of the title cards where you see the truffle. That it's funny because with the production design team, I was like, they created the truffles. Obviously, I didn't have time with all the hats I was wearing to make the truffles, and I was like, that's not how mine looked. But I was open to their interpretation. But I love making chocolate truffles.
Oh, yum. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. What is your favorite Christmas song or carol?
Well, I love so this movie's title was originally What Are You Doing New Year's? And I love that song. It's just so romantic and so beautiful.
I know that song.
Oh my goodness. What Are You Doing New Year's? There are a million different versions of it. I think Billie Holiday maybe has a great one. Frank Lesser, who wrote Guys and Dolls, the musical, he wrote that song. I think he maybe also wrote Baby It's Cold Outside. But check out, there's also the Harry Connick Jr. version of What Are You Doing New Year's is also quite nice.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's very good. Okay. What is your favorite classic Christmas movie? You already mentioned Die Hard.
Classic. Well, a question of whether that's got a funny choice, but I'll say The Muppet Christmas Carol is one that I watch every year. It's just a tradition. My sister and I will on Christmas Eve watch it. It just brings a smile to my face.
It's so good. I love it too. It's such a good Michael Caine is so good with the Muppets. He treats them just like regular actors, and so it really works. And And
Well, it's funny and
mhm,
heartfelt, and
mhm,
it checks all the boxes.
mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, we also watch it on Christmas Eve because
Oh, do you?
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole song. After all, there's only one more sleep till
Till Christmas.
Christmas. Very good.
I knew we
Okay.
were kindred spirits.
That's right. Okay. Which do you prefer, Scrooge versus the Grinch?
Hmm. I might go Scrooge, but that's maybe the Muppet Christmas Carol speaking
Yeah.
that I have more affinity for.
Okay. Clear lights or colored?
Oh, colored, hands down.
Okay. Would you rather be in a snowball fight or build a snowman?
Ooh. I think build a snowman. That seems safer.
Okay, good. Would you consider yourself a good gift wrapper or not?
I aspire to be a good one, but when push comes to shove, and sometimes time is not on my side, and I get lazy. I have a friend who every year their family does a worst gift wrapping contest. So like the person who wraps it the worst gets a prize. So they
Mhm.
really aggressively try to make it, duct tape and, just horrible, which I
You're
think is
like,
kind of freeing.
yeah, I can see that. All right, last question. What is your ugliest Christmas sweater? I mean, you're there in California, so maybe you don't have that
Yeah.
many.
I would like to get an ugly Christmas sweater collection. When you're a native Californian, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's 65 degrees. It's chilly. Like I'm wearing a sweater today. And I felt like I had permission because it's in the 60s today. And I'm like, it is a little nippy outside. But I definitely,
Yeah.
I want to. One of the characters almost wore this sweater in the movie, Cliff, played by Dave Child, who's very funny and kind of like the funny neighbor.
Oh yeah.
He had a sweater that Target sold last year that was like a llama, where you could put your beer in the llama's like shirt or something. Like you could keep a beer in the sweater. So that was like a great ugly sweater I was admiring.
Yeah, that would have been funny for the beer tub.
Oh, it would have been.
Year.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need to get a beer. I brought my own. Yeah, that would have been funny.
Yes. Well, very good. You answered all the questions.
Oh, cool. I passed the test.
Yes, you did. So if people want to watch the movie,
I hope they do.
Yes.
So if you're listening to this, you should.
Yes. So if people want to watch See You Next Christmas, how can they watch it?
So this year it's going to be available on all digital platforms. So if you go to iTunes, Apple, Amazon, Roku, Google Play, Sony, all of those, you will find the film. And then hopefully next year, the way indie films come out, you have your transactional window, which is This Is Ours. Next year's subscription. So hopefully next year we'll be on a subscription service. So maybe like a Hulu, a Netflix, Showtime, HBO, one of those.
Yeah.
But this year, if you're listening, go to iTunes or any of those other places, and you can see You Next Christmas.
Yeah. I think you'll really enjoy it. So check it out. We'll put a link, we'll put an affiliate link in the description. So make sure to check that out. And thanks so much, Christine. This was so much fun to get to talk with you, and congratulations on the film. And
thank you. It was such a blast, Rachel.
Hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas.
You as well. This was such a treat to get to talk to you and to be on the show. So thank you.
Well, so make sure that you're following the podcast. If you're listening, make sure you follow the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is a lot of fun, and our merch store. All the information is in the description. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And I will have my review up for See You Next Christmas on Rotten Tomatoes coming soon. So make sure you check that out. And thanks so much again, Christine. And we'll talk to you all later.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Clarkmas.
Merry Clark.